Hello, noble souls. This is Alfred the Black Oni, and I'm here today to talk to you about. I want to talk to you some more about what is the dark feminine. But before I mention that, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the noble soul's awakening. And so, what does that mean? What does the noble soul's awakening mean? Everywhere you go, all over the internet, even in the world, everyone is looking for a power inside of us in humans that is beyond just what we know is what I consider to be technology. We're all looking for inner power, inner strength. And I'm not just talking about the strength to build a business, the strength to start a new relationship, or the strength to maybe run a race or something to that effect. I'm talking about supernatural inner strength. Humanity has been searching for this for thousands of years. And no matter how much we search, we know it's there. We have mythological stories telling us about it. We have cartoons and movies telling us about it. But for some reason, we just can't seem to find it. Um, After a while, we find out that our bodies are limited and we're just human, and there's doesn't seem to be nothing more going on. But I want to tell you today, I want to tell you, as the Black Oni, the champion and prophet of the dark feminine, that those powers do exist. And I was led to the knowledge of how to find these powers some years back. And I was brought to something called dark feminine. At that time, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that there was something inside of me that allowed me to access knowledge and information without having access to books or other physical, tangible sources that were external to me, but that there's a way to access limitless knowledge from within us, and that power is connected to love, pure and innocent love, like that of a child. So I know that sounds weird, but just bear with me. The power that is within us that humanity has been looking, we've actually been lied to about it. Okay, we've been told that it doesn't exist, and we can only experience this in video games. We can experience this in movies, and basically in fantasy. That's the only place we can experience being supernatural beings. And I'm going to tell you right now that that's a lie. Okay, and there are forces here in this world. I'm going to get into all this perhaps in another video that have deceived humanity into thinking that we're just flesh and blood beings that have limited capability, and that we're subject to the forces of nature and forces that are all around us, and that we don't have a choice, and that there's nothing more to us. But I'm here to tell you that there's a lot more to us. And it revolves around something called the dark feminine mind. And if you've seen the Black Panther series, is really a manifestation of the teachings of the dark feminine mind. So first, let me get into what exactly is, how does this connect to noble souls? Okay, I mentioned in a previous video that the word noble means to be full of knowledge. Noble means to be full of knowledge. Okay, and we know now that with knowledge, you can do anything. You can build a ship, you can build spaceships, you can build $1 million business, you can build anything you want, you can have a good relationship, you can have anything you want if you have the right knowledge in order to obtain that which you seek, or that which you desire. Okay, but we've been taught that knowledge all comes through books, reading, studying. And I'm not saying that that's not important, that that's not knowledge, but it's not true knowledge. It's really more of artificial synthetic knowledge. And that knowledge comes from basically us being in our environment. and learning from people who's done research and written books and things like that. But there's a knowledge that's greater than that and much more powerful than any book is ever written. And it's called the knowledge within. And I know that might sound cheesy or corny right now, but that simple concept is very powerful because as a people, as a lost people, and that's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to really the entire planet is lost, but I'm really talking to a select group of people that I really want to hear this, who's fallen, our people, we've fallen to the bottom. And we just can't seem to get ourselves together. There's a knowledge inside of us that is what's called true knowledge, or what I refer to as inner knowing. And you don't learn or study this kind of knowledge. You have to find it within you. And there's a way to find it within you. And this knowledge can lead you into supernatural abilities. Let me say that again. It can lead you into supernatural abilities because we are supernatural creatures. And that's not something that I have faith in. That's something that I know. You have to feel it. And in order to start accessing this inner knowing, you have to not use your light mind. So let me get into that. The two minds. We have two minds operating inside of us. We have a light mind and we have what I refer to as a dark mind. Okay. People in the past, a lot of people teach erroneously that the light means good and purity and that dark means evil and bad. And I don't know where humans started teaching that. I mean, really, I think it's something based on white supremacy that started because white is associated with light, and white supremacy has always associated black with evil or something that's bad. But that's not really what's going on here. Let me tell you right now, that teaching is completely wrong. It is completely erroneous. That light means good and pure, and that dark means bad, evil. That is completely wrong, and I'm going to show you that it's wrong, and it really doesn't make sense. You're going to have to get that out of your head if you're going to make any progress with the Noble Souls Awakening. I'm talking to a few select people out there because not everybody's going to be able to participate in this. Why? Because not everybody has the inner calling to it. See, it's you who call yourself to it based on the purity and quality of your heart. And that has to do with if you've been deceived by the world that we live in, which is an illusion, a construct. And I'll have to get into that in another video. It's a construct designed to deceive us from who we are. And that in order to return to that, you have to stop thinking with your intellect or with your necessarily your physical body, but start using your heart mind, which is it's manifested in our world as our heart organ. I'm not talking about the heart chakra. And I know a lot of people start saying that when I refer to heart energy or heart power, they start talking about chakras. And I'm going to get into that later. Chakras are part of your light mind, not part of your dark mind. So anyway, let me put up a little slide here. And I'm on my website, Book, and it's a social media platform that I built using some other tools and plugins. And it's just like a Facebook, but I call it Book because it's named after the Black Panther goddess Bast. And at the time that I discovered the dark feminine, I did not associate it with the Black Panther goddess Bast. That came later when I saw the movie Black Panther, and I began to see that that movie actually has a lot of what I came into in that movie. And the knowledge of the dark feminine is not just something that I came into, is actually in a lot of ancestral teachings and cultures around the world. And it's even in Hinduism, and it's in Buddhism, and it's, except they have different names for it, and so that will make people confuse it. But let's look at this right here. Okay, let's look at this right here. Okay, so if you look at it, I have the yin yang symbol, which is very important. The yin yang symbol is the symbol of the two minds that we have operating inside of us. And in order to unlock our inner strength and our inner power, we have to understand what this sign truly means. And I'm going to tell you what it means from my revelation. And I'm going to encourage you not to use the teachings of other people to try to interpret this. Because if you do that, you're going to mess it all up. You're going to be confused, and you're going to be coming to conclusions that really is just totally way off. And you're not going to be able to see the big picture of where this is going. So you're going to have to trust me for right now. You're going to have to trust me that I know what I'm talking about, and just go along for the ride and see where all this is going. Okay. And but before I go into this, I want to mention that in the movie Black Panther, Wakanda is the symbol of a society that is dark feminine awakening. Is dark feminine awakened. Let me say that again. Wakanda is a symbol of a society that is dark feminine awakened. And the Black Panther Bast symbolizes the dark feminine mind. Okay. And then there's a White Panther called Alabast. Okay. And she's a part of this too. And you're gonna see more about this in just a moment. So what we have right here is we have the um we have the yin yang symbol. Okay. And some of this you'll see in Chinese mythology or Chinese esoteric teachings, but you're not going to find it how I'm teaching it. This is something that you have to come to through inner knowing. You're not going to just read a book and come to this, because in order to open the power within, you have to be able to access a part of yourself that is beyond books, beyond reading, beyond study. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But moving forward, let me go ahead and discuss what's on the screen right now. Okay, so what we have the yin yang symbol, and we have uh, these two sides, which I call the two minds that we have operating within us. And if you look, you see that we have something called the masculine mind. Okay, and the masculine mind is the mind of light. I call it the light masculine. Okay. And there's a reason for that, because the light mind is the mind of logic, control. It's the mind of reasoning. It's the mind of illusions, objects, constructs, ideas. Okay. So the light mind is the mind that you use to build something or construct something or destruct something. It's the mind that builds, constructs. And this is the mind that the purpose of this mind is to try to give you whatever you desire. It's for one, it does a lot of things, but one thing, it helps you navigate whatever world you're in. It helps you reason through it, understand it, and make sense of it. And then it helps you learn how to manipulate that world in order to give you the things that you desire. For instance, by studying physics, you learn how to make cars, and by studying maybe chemistry, you learn how to make different types of dyes to paint with. Okay. So we have the masculine mind, which is the mind, which I call the light masculine mind. And this is the white side of the yin yang. And as far as I know, Chinese teaching will tell you that they consider the light side, the white side, to be masculine as well. So with that part, I'm in agreement with that teaching. The light mind is the intellect. Intelligence is it's like a computer. Think of the light mind as like your ability to be a computer. and to do everything that a computer can do. A computer can process information, it can construct, it can make constructs. You know, they're not, the computers we have today are not very intelligent. But eventually, as techniques get better, we'll have machines that are intelligence will increase and be able to make decisions and do things more sophisticatedly. But that's what the purpose of the light mind. It's like a computer, and it gives you the ability to process and reason things, to divide things, to put it into blocks, to analyze, give labels to things, and make sense of the world so that you can start using those blocks to first make sense of what's going on around you, and then two, try to manipulate the world around you to bring about the outcome that you wish to happen. Okay. So this mind is powered by fear. And you may not understand that right now, but just you make you just have to go along for the ride to understand it. The light mind is powered by fear because in order to build something which you desire, all kinds of things can happen. You have the things that you desire to happen, but things can happen that you don't desire or you don't want to happen. Okay. And for the most part, the world that we live in, if you stop and think about it, there are many things that can more things that can go wrong than go right. It's actually hard to make something you want to work properly because that's like a small number or small set. For instance, if you want to make a car work, there's only so many ways you can make a car work, but there's a lot of ways a car can fail. It cannot work. So you're in this battle between trying to get what you desire and stay away from the things that you don't desire. And the things that you don't desire are what trigger fear. Okay? Fear. Fear is, if you think about it, fear is you being afraid of something happening that you don't want to happen or you don't want to be true, or something that you do not desire. That is what fear represents because it's an, an outcome or a result of some event or state of being that is not in your will. Okay. So if you just think about that, I'm not going to go into that further right now, but if you just think about that, fear is what drives everything in our world. Fear. Fear of not having enough food, fear of not having enough air to breathe, fear of loneliness, fear of not being loved. The first things that you fear as a baby when you come out of the womb is not being loved because your mother holds you, provides you with everything that you need. Right? She provides you with milk, warmth, safety, clothing, protection. And from that moment forward, you notice that you're hungry and that you need food. You need air to breathe, right? And as you get older and as your intelligence grows, you start learning that you need other things as well, and that you live in a constant state of fear of not having it, being accepted. You get older, you start trying to fit in with the crowd, you start trying to be liked, you start trying to look attractive to the opposite sex, or, today with some people, it's the same sex. But you get the idea. As you develop, you learn that there are more things to be afraid of in life. Fear of not having money, fear of not having a job, fear of not having transportation, and so forth. Fear of not having medical care, of not being healthy. The older you get, you start learning to fear more and more things. And so It is this fear that requires you to control things, to control your environment, so that the things you do not desire will not occur. Your fears will not occur, will not happen. You're trying to prevent that. That's the purpose of control. You want to make the things you want to happen happen, and you want to make the things you don't want to happen to stop them from happening. And if you think about that, every rule in existence is attempting to accomplish that. There is no rule you can think of that is not attempting to accomplish something. It's trying to make something, it's trying to set a limit and make something happen that is desired to happen and prevent something from happening that is undesired. If you think about it in chess or checkers, there are rules for how you can move the pieces because they don't want you to, when you move the knight, you have to move it like an L. They don't want you to just move it in a straight line. So that's what the rule is there for. You have to move the knight as an L. That is the desired outcome. Okay. So that is the mind of intelligence, logic, reasoning. It is even the mind of art. Art is in that mind. You know, a lot of times people would say that artistic creativity is in the dark mind. That is not true. Artistic creativity is the light mind, because after all, when you paint, what do you paint with? You paint with colors. You construct things with light. The world we're built in is made of light. Okay, science has proven all of that. Everything you see around you is really light waves. It feels like it's physical, it feels hard, but it's actually just vibrating waves of light. Okay, condensed vibrating waves. So let's look at the diagram again. We have that light, the light mind, which I call the masculine mind. It's the mind of intellect. It's powered by fear. And it's also the mind of perception, because it's how you see things and interpret things. It's also the mind of illusion, because if you think about it, the word light means loose. The word loose, L-U-S, and they have L-U-C and some, I think maybe, yeah, L-U-S, L-U-C, C, and maybe some other variations of the spelling, but it means loose, but it means light. And the word is just illusion, illusion. Everything that the light mind creates is an illusion. It's not actually there. It's just vibrations. And it's how your mind is interpreting, perceiving those vibrations. Okay? So the world we live in is an illusion. And you have to understand and accept this. The world we live in is an illusion. And we call it, when we say the word reality, we assume that reality means truth. Reality does not mean truth. The word reality or real has the word ray in it, R-E, ray. And that word comes from the ancient Egyptian slash Kemetic people, who they were originally called the people of Kemet, not Egypt. Egypt is a Greek name. They had a god of light called Ray or Ra. Okay. So reality is a world constructed by what? Ray, Ra, light. And it is an illusion. It is a construct. It is light sort of tricking you into thinking something is that really isn't. And this mind of light that is built on a ray or Ra energy is really kind of deceptive, because most people never stop to question that the world that they live in, that they think is truth, is it really just a fantasy or a dream? Okay, so the light mind is the mind that you use to construct things, to construct what? Illusions, fantasies, dreams. So you got to understand that fantasies and dreams, all of this tie together. Light mind, intellect, logic, computers, processing, fantasies, dreams, realities are all what? Connected. Because the world we live in is really one big reality that is constructed by beings that have very sophisticated processing power. Okay, and I'll get into that later. So let's go down the line. We have light is illusion, light is intellect, we have light is understanding. What do we mean by that? Understanding means you're able to break information into pieces, digestible pieces that make sense to you, that you can use in ways to manipulate reality or understand or perceive or make sense of or comprehend what is going on around you. You can understand the mechanics. Understanding is the ability to know the mechanical nature of your world. So when you say I understand something, that means you perceive the what? You perceive the mechanical nature of something. What makes it work? Why is it working that way? You perceive the process. Okay. And that goes along with the next word. We have reasoning. Reasoning. And if you look at that word, reasoning, it has the word Re, it has Ray in it, the sun god Ray, Ra. And it's telling you that light is the ability, gives the ability to what? Reason. Okay? Reason. As I told you, the light mind is the ability to what? Comprehend and understand, to make sense of the world, to process it into little pieces, to understand the mechanics that makes things work, and to use those mechanics to give you your desired outcome. It could be you want to make $1 million. It could be you want to buy a new house. It could be you want to find a new mate. You want a better marriage. You want to build a house, whatever it is that you desire. This allows you the ability to do that. The light mind gives you the ability to construct an object or objects or experiences in the realm of dreams. Light. Okay? In the realm of dreams. The world we live in is a dream. Just like when you lay down and go to sleep, it's a dream you're experiencing. You see light. The only difference is that when you're in a dream, the laws of physics are different and they're not so strict as they are in this world that we're in. Okay? So we're in this physical, tangible world. When we wake up, we're still dreaming, but these rules are more strict. They're not flexible like it is when you're asleep. When you're asleep, you can fly, you can make things change just by a thought. You can walk through walls, you'll see creatures shapeshift, or you can see all kinds of things in your dreams that you don't see happen in the material world, this material dream. Okay. So the light world is the ability to reason, and let's go to the next one, control. In order to create what you desire, in order to create what you desire, and to prevent what you don't desire from happening, to prevent the things you don't want to happen from happening, and to make what you want happen, you have to be able to what? Control things. Okay? You can't just hope it works. A lot of people do that. They do things and just hope for it to work out, but that's not universal truth. That's not any type of truth. Okay? Because you have to construct the way for what you want to happen, not just hope it happens. If you really want it to happen, you have to what? Control, make a way for the outcome you want to occur. It might mean you need to exercise if you want to lose weight, or you might need to take a certain special new diet pill, or whatever the answer is. But it means that you need to figure something out that's going to give you what? To ability to control the outcome. and bring about what you desire and prevent the things that you don't desire from happening. Okay, next I want to mention that the light mind is limited. What do you mean by limited, Alfred? There are things that it cannot do. And this is very important because most people think that intelligence is capable of all things. Intelligence is not capable of all things. It's capable of many things, perhaps trillions or gazillions of things, but there are things that your intellect cannot do. And you have to be aware of this in order to understand the teaching of noble souls and the awakening of what I call the Royal Panthera tribe. And I explain that in a little more detail, perhaps in another video. But what I call the Black Panther, the true Black Panther tribe, the Royal Panthera tribe. Black Panther and Royal Panthera is the same thing because black is the symbol of royalty. And I have to get into that later. It's the symbol of purity and royalty. It's also the symbol of nobility. Okay? So the masculine mind is limited. Think of it like a computer chip. They come out with a computer chip this year, and next year they have a better one. Okay, so but it has limits. It may be better than the one the year before, but it still has its limits. Okay, so everything in the masculine mind has limits, but the masculine mind is upgradable. Okay, it's upgradable. Your intellect, your light mind can be upgraded to have new abilities. And this is what some people, when they're talking about chakras, they don't understand. The word chakra is referring to the light mind. And as you learn more about your chakras and how to use your chakras, it means you're upgrading your light mind and the abilities that it has. Okay. So I'll get into that in another video. So remember that the light mind is like a computer. It really is a computer. It's a part of you that is a computer, that is a machine that can map out a plan, a strategy, a program, a set of rules by which you can implement and bring about what you desire. And in bringing about the outcome you desire, that means what? Stopping the things that you don't desire from happening. Okay? So you got to understand that this mind is always powered by fear. And that is why control is needed. Because in order to stop things from occurring that it doesn't want to happen, it needs to control. Okay? And that's where the ability to control things comes from, the light mind. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk to you about is the dark mind. Okay, the other side of it is the dark mind. So if you notice, the light mind says perception, illusion, reality. I don't know if you can see that illusion and reality right there, but the next part is beyond perception. Okay, beyond perception means beyond the ability of light, beyond reasoning. And to some of you, you may think there is no such mind that goes beyond reason, because everything we know of is some type of reasoning mind. But there is an ability to go beyond reason, all reason. Okay? And that is the dark mind. The dark mind does not need to follow reason, rules, constructs, programs, processes. It does not need mathematics, computers, or whatever. It can do things that no computer, no matter how smart or how intelligent you are or how sophisticated a machine you make, it can never do. Okay. And for one thing, is knowing what love is. Okay. Because if you say a machine can know what love is, you're saying love is just a set of rules. Because anything that can be put into a set of rules can be put in a machine. A machine can do it. Someone can One day somebody's going to be smart enough to make a machine that could build an entire house without any human help. The machine's going to be able to go out, cut wood, cut the boards, maybe even make paint, make its own, go out in nature and find stuff and make its own paint. But see, because all of that revolves around rules, rules. But what is beyond all rules? And that is knowing what love is. And if you haven't come to that awakening yet, if you think love is a process, then you're trapped in the light mind. And I have another video for you probably another day. You're trapped in the light mind. You can never experience the dark feminine mind. Okay, so the dark feminine mind is the mind of truth. It is beyond perception. It is beyond understanding. You can't comprehend it. You can't analyze it. It just is. It just is. You say, Alfred, how is that possible? The intellect can't make sense of it. It just is and always was. Okay? The dark mind just is and always was. It has no beginning, end, no origin. It just is and always was and always will be. How do you know that? It's something that you have to feel. You know by feeling. You can't know by understanding. There is no equation that can prove it to you, because an equation is just a construct anyway. And the dark mind is beyond all constructs, all ideas and thoughts. Is beyond all of that. How do you know this? This is a part. In order to access the dark mind, you have to access the ability to just know. It cannot be taught. I can I can do things and kind of set the stage for you and kind of point a direction in a sense that, well, it's kind of like over here, or it's kind of like over there, but it's not there, but it's kind of like you just do this, and you just have to find it. You can't be taught this mind. You have to find it. Okay? So the dark feminine mind is the mind of truth, because the only truth in the universe is darkness. That is the only thing that is absolute. Darkness is absolute. You can bet your bottom dollar, darkness, no matter where you go in the universe, no matter no matter what you do or where you go in the universe, darkness is always going to be there. Okay? Darkness is always going to be there. No matter how fast you travel with this, I don't care if you can travel faster than the speed of light. The darkness is already there when you get there. A matter of fact, the darkness doesn't need time and space. It doesn't need any of those things. It just is. It just is, always was. Okay. So you have to come to this through an awakening inside of you. You have to feel it. You can't understand it. You can't be explained it. You have to sit down in the quiet and quiet your mind and let go of your reasoning abilities and go into your feeling, sensing, knowing abilities. Okay, so next I want to mention that the dark mind is the mind of intuition. Now, some people are going to say your gut is intuition. Your gut is part of your light mind, not your dark mind. Okay? Your gut is just a sophisticated, is another brain that you have in your body, a second brain that we're not fully connected to. We kind of have a sense of it that is there, but there are microbes and things in your gut, that are living creatures in your gut, that are actually talking to you chemically all the time, communicating with you chemically in your gut. It's called gut flora. And when you get a feeling in your gut that something's not right or whatever, it's really that gut flora talking to you. And you say, well, Alfred, what do you mean gut flora? Gut flora has a consciousness. Then that'll have to be another video. Microbes have a consciousness. That's another video. Okay. So the dark feminine mind is the mind of intuition. And what does intuition mean? Intuition means, it means in, okay? And the word to it means to teach. So it means inner teacher, not instinct. Instinct is inner programming, okay? Use my definitions. Instinct is inner programming. Intuition is inner teacher. Inner teacher. And it is the dark mind that is, since it is beyond limits, it knows all things. The dark mind knows everything. There's nothing that can happen or that can occur that the dark mind was not already aware of. It's limitless. It has no limit, and it's feminine. Alfred, why is it feminine? Let me go back to my definitions of feminine and masculine. And if you use my definitions of feminine and masculine, you're going to make better sense of the world. Don't use the definitions that you see most of the time in public, I mean, or in dictionaries. When they say feminine, they usually mean prissy pink, something sexual, something that women would wear. And they say masculine, they usually mean something macho. Okay? That's a very watered down, inaccurate definition. I would say a better definition of masculine is to have definition. Why? Because the light mind deals with rules, construct. I mentioned that earlier. It deals with rules, constructs, and to have definition, you have to what? Follow some rules. The word definition means to have what? Rules. And a rule is a limit. Okay? And when you think of something that is limit, it is also what? Rigid. Rigid. You can't go past a certain line, right? Something is cut off. When you make any rule, there is no such thing as a rule that doesn't limit. If you make a rule, it's limiting something, right? When you're driving on the road, you have in the United States, we have the yellow lines and sometimes the white lines in the middle of the road, the white dashes. You can't, there are rules for when you can and cannot go across those lines. Okay, so that is a definition. That is what it means to be masculine, to have definition, to follow rules, to follow process, to follow logic, to follow instructions. Okay, the word feminine really means the lack of definition, and you could consider that to be soft, because things that are soft are not as well defined. That's why it's soft. It's bending. It's flexible. So the definition is not as what? Rigid. But if the definition is relaxed, that's what makes it bend. That's what makes it soft. And so when you think of feminine things, you think of women, right? As a general rule, women have a very soft skin, much softer than male skin, as a general rule. You can see when women walk around or when they wear a bikini or outfit, their skin jiggles more. You know, even for a fat man, we don't jiggle as much. A woman with much less body fat will jiggle much more than we do. You'll see her legs jiggling, her thighs jiggling, her behind jiggle. Okay, and men, we don't jiggle as much. It's because our bodies are more masculine and is more rigid. And when we work out and exercise, our bodies get harder quicker. A woman's body can get hard too, but our bodies get harder quicker, because then that is the masculine hormone making it get harder quicker, a more rigid definition, strength. When you think of a woman, is more flexibility. Women are naturally, it's scientific. Don't just put this, don't just say Alfred's being whatever, gender bias, because there is a difference between the genders. That as a general rule, women are naturally more flexible than men. And if you look at even in just in being intimate, the female body has to be more flexible, right? It has to be for the act to occur. Okay. For the act of intimacy between male and woman to occur, she has to be more flexible. It's just so that's where you get masculinity and then you get femininity. Okay. So feminine means to be soft. And I know these things may seem like they don't make sense right now, but in order to tap into the super mind, you have to be aware you can't get around it because a lot of people don't know how to use their mind. Your mind is a tool, your light mind is a tool, it's an instrument. The true you is the dark mind, the mind that is beyond comprehension, it is beyond understanding. That is the true you. And the light mind is, think of it more of like a mask or an imprint over your dark mind, sort of placing some limits on what it does and how it does certain things. But really, the true you is the dark mind, the dark feminine mind. And that is the mind. The light represent things that you understand and that you make sense of. And the dark mind represents things that you do not understand, things that you do not make sense of. Okay. It is things beyond understanding. You can have things that are understandable that at the moment are dark to you because you just don't understand them right now. But there are some things your light mind can never understand. And you're going to have to accept that. I can explain that in more detail, but it's an awakening you have to come into. There are some things that limit can never understand unlimited. It can attempt to, but it can't because it's limited itself. And how can limited understand unlimited? Limited would have to be unlimited. And once it becomes unlimited, it can no longer understand because understanding requires that you make rules and definitions. So, how can something that requires rules and definitions understand something that does not follow any rules or definitions? It's not subject to rules or definitions. Okay, see, and that's where you're gonna have to. That's the key point that you're gonna have to become aware of in order to understand Noble Soul's awakening, the dark feminine awakening, the return to a supernatural people. Okay, the return to a supernatural people. And give me just one moment here. I'm gonna mute the sound on my computer. I always forget to do this before my videos. Okay. All right. So you're gonna have to come to that awakening. So if we go back and we look at the graph, we have if we look at the collage here, we have that the dark mind is truth because the only truth is darkness. The universe, even all of the mythologies of the world say that the universe started out dark. Even the Bible says it. It started out dark. Okay? It started out dark. Even in the Bible, God says, what? Let there be light. If you're a Christian. And then there are other mythologies that say the same thing, that in the beginning light is basically a construct, a created thing. And then if you don't believe in any religion, then you use the science, the Big Bang, right? If you're an atheist or whatever, it's the same concept. The Big Bang is what? Let there be light. And if you study all of that, the physicists say that in the beginning, it basically say what the mythology says, the Bible, the Hindus, and other spiritual systems say that in the beginning, the world started out as a small egg. The whole universe was a small egg that basically cracked, and then all of this light came out and started making all of these worlds. stars and everything, and what we see. And eventually living creatures came later. Okay, so let's move on. The next thing we have is that the dark mind is the mind of knowing. What is the difference between knowing and understanding? You have to use my definitions in order to be aware. Knowing is something that you feel. It knowing. Let me give you a good definition of knowing. Knowing means you have an intimate relationship with something. You're intimate with something. Okay. And in my past I was a Christian, so let me go back. I still refer to the Bible a lot because it has a lot of truth in it, but it says in the translation of the Bible down through the years into English, they used to instead of say a man to have relations with a woman, they would just say he knew her when they become physically intimate. And if you think about it, that makes sense, doesn't it? When you're intimate with someone, you're close to them, you know more about them than you know what the next person would know, right? Right. If I'm a guy and I'm looking at a woman that I like, I can fantasize about what she might be like when we're intimate. I can fantasize about it, but that's not knowing. That is what the light mind, where I'm dreaming. I'm more of like trying to create a dream that might give me the answer, right? But if a person is intimate with actually intimate with that person, they have a they know. They don't have to necessarily fantasize about it. They what know that person. Okay. And when you're intimate with that person, you know them by what? Feeling. When you're close to someone, feelings get activated, don't they? If a man and woman are together intimate, they're feeling one another, whether it's physical and or emotional. When you're emotionally close to someone, you start feeling their emotions and they start feeling yours. You're getting to know them. And when you're around someone a lot, you get to see things about them, right? That nobody else sees. Little thing that nobody else sees. Little things about them nobody else knows. You know that you might know all their habits. You might know what they're afraid of. You might see things. Well, of course, you're gonna see things that nobody else see, and you're gonna know things about this person nobody else knows, because why? You have an intimate relationship with them. Okay, so the dark mind is a step further than the physical. There's an ability. There's a power in you, which you could call it the power. It's a type of oneness, a unity, because the dark is connected to everything. The dark is connected to everything. And since it's connected to everything, it knows everything. And if you think about it, black absorbs light. And if you understand it, that black absorbs light, you can think about it as what? The black knows what? Everything, because it's absorbed it, right, into itself. So it knows everything. There's nothing that can happen that it doesn't know that and that it's not aware of. Okay. So this is very important. And all of this is going to come later to activating the super mind. And I'm going to talk to more about, in order to activate that super mind, you have to have purity of heart and innocence of heart. And this is what the world is trying to deceive humans by contaminating our hearts, and that's disconnecting us from that dark mind, that mind of all knowing. And that mind can lead you into supernatural abilities. It ain't no can, it will lead you into it. It's going to lead you into a real freakish abilities. And you're going to start feeling that you have certain things that's inside you that want to manifest. They want to manifest. They're there. But you have to have a what? Intimate, a knowing, a feeling relationship with it to know that it's there. No proof, no evidence, no science. is saying that is there. You have to what? Feel it. And the ability to feel is the ability to detect things that are beyond sight, beyond light. Okay. All right. So let's go a little step further here. The next we want to say that the dark mind is the mind of when I say the dark mind is the mind of the dark mind is the mind of freedom. Okay. And the dark mind is the mind of freedom because, like I said, the light mind makes rules. It holds things down by making definitions. The dark mind is beyond definition. Okay, it's beyond definition. And so since the dark mind is beyond definition, it takes you the other direction. It takes you to freedom, to free will. Okay, while the light mind holds you down, the dark mind takes you to uh, uh, the ability to break out of rules, to not be trapped or stuck in rules. So if you're trapped or stuck in rules, that's like being trapped in a computer program. Okay, you're trapped in a process, a way of thinking that cannot change. And you got to think about it. Even your body is a computer program. Your cells and everything is software controlling how you function, how you think, everything about you is control is trying to control it. But the dark mind is the ability to go beyond that. It's not limited by your physical body. Okay. And so the dark mind is the mind of all knowing, it's the mind of nobility. Let me say that again. The dark mind is the mind of all knowing, it's the mind of nobility. So let's go to the next one. And we have it's unlimited. So I've already talked about that. It's unlimited. Okay. And next, it's unlimited because it's beyond all definition. The next thing is the mind of love. Okay. It is the mind of love. This is just something that you have to come to. There is no scientific proof. You have to sit down in the quiet and get to know yourself. Feel yourself. Feel your inner being. You can feel the inside of your body. That's one level of feeling. And there's a feeling deeper than that that goes beyond your body. And you're gonna feel it. And when you feel, there's things you can feel that you just know. It is. Just like the dark mind. The dark mind just is. It is. It exists and it just knows. Okay. So as you can see, the contrast between the two minds, these are very important. And I'm going to probably record another video and go into a little bit further about what I said and how this connects to supernatural and the awakening of the noble souls community. The noble souls community, and this is my family. I call myself the prophet and champion of the dark feminine. And if you feel that, if you listen to my videos and you connect with it and you feel that there's truth to this, then you're welcome to be a part of this. And if you don't feel it, that's cool too. Just don't be hating on my wall. Just don't be hating on my YouTube channel. If this is not for you and you're not feeling it, then just find you another channel. Okay. This is for the people who I connect with. And it is time for us to come together and to form a tribe. And it's time for us to reawaken into our powers and to who we are. And the movie Black Panther is just a little taste of that. It's just a little taste of the power such a people are capable of. It's just a little taste, a glimpse into it. Okay. Because the mind of nobility is the dark feminine mind and it knows everything. That's why it produces what? Noble souls. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this video down and then I'm gonna record another one in just a little bit.